Hello, everyone. Welcome to Through the Cow on this nice sunny day. I think it's been for all of us today. It's been a very warm, very busy day, and we come along. We're going to give you the best of us. Today, along with Debbie, we have a special guest, a guy who has, since I've come across him on, I think it was TikTok, has inspired me daily with
Oh,
the consistent content that he posts, the topics he speaks about. He's also a father who he doesn't post about his kids that much, but he can tell that the love that he proceeds, and he does mention them. He works alongside with his brother on his podcast, which is called the Brothers Geekout podcast, which is very good. I listen to it regularly. Like I said, he puts out a lot of content on TikTok. He's on Instagram. Um, he's on Spotify. You name it, he is there. He's one of the most handsome men on TikTok, by the way.
You're too kind, dude. You're too kind. Honestly, you're killing me right now.
Yeah. And he has probably, I'd say he's got the third best spinning roundhouse kick, just behind Joe Rogan and Max Holloway from the UFC.
he loves him.
Yeah. Yeah, so everyone, you might just saw him pop up on the screen, but I would like you to join and welcome Kibla Ahmed from the Brothers Geek Out podcast.
What's happening, guys? Thank you so much for that amazing intro, dude. You've really inflated my ego right now, and can't keep my head on my shoulders at the moment. But no, thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure to come on here. Listen, man, I there's one thing I got to say. You said inspired, because I'm inspired by everybody else's content that comes on there, and I'm glad we crossed paths. I know we saw each other, I think, was it last year or the year before?
Yeah, last year. I think we saw each other. We missed each other at the Comic-Con, but then we saw each other at the Batman in concert.
That's right, exactly that. So, no, definitely, it's an absolute pleasure. It's always nice to see good people doing geeky stuff, honestly. And when I saw your page as well, and your comedic take on some of the superhero stuff, I absolutely loved it. And we've got along ever since. So massive thank you for let me become a part of this as well. And Debbie, it's nice to meet you as well. Definitely.
Me too. It's so nice to have you.
Yeah. So as we go forward, Kibs, let's tell us a little bit about yourself. You tell us, you have to go too much into your personal life, but talk about what you do. And obviously, let everyone know, David might not know, that you're an excellent artist as well. I forgot to throw that in the intro. He's an excellent artist. You should see some of his work.
My sister and her partner are amazing. She used to do acrylics. She doesn't anymore, but she did used to do acrylics. And he does airbrushing.
Okay.
Level I have never seen before. What do you use?
So I'm a mixed media type of person. So paper pencil is what I love the most, but mixed media, I do canvases, I do digital artwork. Oh my God, anything I could get my hands on, I'll give it a go. Airbrushing is one that I haven't done in ages. That's one I used to love doing as well, spray painting. But traditional blank piece of paper and a pencil, and I just love to kind of just doodle and sketch away, to be honest. So yeah, I've been doing that for years now. For years. I mean, I've only gone probably freelance in the past couple of years, but it's always been a passion. And I do workshops. So I do art workshops for the local community and kind of different areas across the country as well. One thing that I want to move forward in is to help inspire the youth right now. So that's the major thing to tick off my list, to do as many workshops I can and inspire the youth that they can get into different industries. And, I started art again in my life after 15 years of a massive break.
Yeah.
And with tragedy, I went for a divorce, and I was living up in the Midlands, and then suddenly I came back to mum's. Mum said, "Come back home."
Yeah.
And when I came back home, I realized,
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came back
so
home.
Good to us.
Mums are amazing. Mums are amazing. Yeah. I ended up coming back to mum's, going in the loft, and realized she kept all my artwork from when I was like 14 to 16.
Oh.
And then I was like, oh my God, I was actually pretty good. And then that's where it kind of all flooded back to me. And then been on this journey ever since. I opened up an Instagram page 10 years ago. Sorry, more than that. I think it's like 15 years ago. I opened up that page and Facebook page and just put my art out there, and it kind of just put me on this journey where I got into different mediums of multimedia and and the opportunities came along with it. So I would say now, dad at heart, that's like my main part of my role in this life now, to guide my daughters. And but I'm an artist at heart. I love art and comic book art.
How old were you when you discovered your talent?
Very, very young. I think I was probably about 3, 4. Mum said I used to always draw on the walls. Yeah, I was like drawing on the walls.
Out of the river from the garden.
I genuinely, and then Mum said I used to always draw all the time. But I was inspired by my uncle. My uncle, who was almost like an elder brother to me, he's probably a couple of years older than me, but my dad's youngest brother. And that's how I got introduced to comic books. He passed down a couple of comic books to me. I saw his artwork. His artwork is insanely good. It's an amazing artist. Didn't go to the route of going through art just because of the culture, and it's the devil's work. They didn't go down that way. And because we came from a strict Islamic household, so it was very difficult at the time, and I could understand his pain. But I tell him now, and it's exactly the same words that, but as an uncle, he lived through my eyes when I do all the stuff that I do now, and I've had a great journey and been able to work with amazing companies to get the artwork out there. So artist, dad, podcaster. We started the podcast 8 years ago. Sorry. Keeps going on. 9 years now. It's going 9 years. We're on like 1,000 episodes almost.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
That's like so.
13.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. Just consistency, keeping it going, and we've done it. And
so is it two brothers? Is it two brothers you have, or just one?
I've got 2 younger brothers and a little sister. This little sister joined the team early this year because I said I wanted to slow down a little bit. So she started to do a couple of the screenings now that I can't be everywhere at once. So she started to join. But I've got a younger brother who is a driving examiner, but he's the gamer of the family. Okay. So he games. He does all the gaming on our channel. And then my brother who lives abroad,
that's the one.
Gilman, is this who we started the podcast with. We started about 9 years ago now. He moved to Hong Kong for career reasons, and he's a martial artist as well as an amateur MMA fighter, and continued his journey to travel across the world to fight and learn different skills. And you know, we're a close-knit family here. My dad, the one thing that he did pass on to us is to have some unity.
Of course,
and you know, him coming from a very strict Islamic background, his brothers, they didn't have that, so he wanted us to be really quite close-knit. And I think that's where the podcast kind of was born, because it happens to anybody. Even if you live 10 minutes down the road, you hardly even see your close friends or relatives anymore. Life gets extremely busy, so we lost contact. So, you know, where it was a call every day, it was a call every week, and then once a month, and then 2 months have gone, and then suddenly, oh my God, I'm losing contact with my brother. And then he had this idea. He's a big fan of Joe Rogan, and he was like, why don't we just get on a let's talk some geeky rubbish and throw it up on YouTube and see what happens. And you know, coming to 1,000 episodes later, different channels, we tried different things, and we went down different routes. You know, the first channel was really good, but it wasn't what we loved doing, and it wasn't what we were loved talking about. And then we started up a second channel, and that's it, man. It's been like I can't even explain the overwhelming journey we've had, because there's some great opportunities that have come out of it, and great moments in my life that I can leave that legacy back for the kids. So, you know, God forbid anything happens, that they've got 1,000 episodes of their uncles and their dads.
Yeah, because I remember
talking all sorts. Yeah,
that's the thing. I remember seeing something. I think it was on a podcast when they talk about, like, when you leave something behind, a lot of people, and like you'll say your grandkids and so forth, or whoever you leave behind, some people will never hear your voice, will see your face. Or whereas now you're posting up into media, it will always be there, and they'll always have some type of reference, like, oh, like that's granddad, that's so and so, that's you know.
So legacy.
I'm seeing them so happy talking about stuff that they really like.
Yeah.
You know, just hopefully get enthused themselves. I always think that's nice.
And we're both close to our family. So Debbie's super close to her sister.
She's my favorite person.
And obviously my brother and sister are like, you know, peas in a pod with me. So it's good that, you know, I think my brother will probably come on one time. You never know. You know, if I can
Get him on, get him on, get him on.
Yeah.
I think that's the great thing about having like podcasts and how social media has brought us all together, is that it's connecting with people, isn't it? And everyday stuff as well, because like we earn to do something.
Yeah.
I think just as human beings. So like we want to do more. We want to be able to help others along the path as well. So I've realized after, like, as much as we love the opportunities that we get out of it, it doesn't boil down to that. It is the moment that I get with my brother, I get on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
That, you know, back when my parents, after the Second World War, when they came here, they didn't have that. They wrote a letter, and you know, they'd be lucky if it got to Bangladesh in like 4 weeks to 6 weeks to find out how they were doing. So like it's amazing how technology and what social media can bring. It brings all the madness with it, but if you use it in a positive light.
Yeah, what I've found as well is so me and Debbie used to do like the show maybe about a couple of years before, and then we just restarted it. But since I've restarted it with work and all the sort of things that I do, I look forward to the 1 hour and a half, the hour and a half, 1 hour and a half that me and Debbie have. It's such a therapy session just to like proper have a little laugh about the things that we want and not forgetting about all the rubbish that's happening outside it.
That goes out the window, annoying things go out the window, and you're just like, and we were saying, weren't we, like how much we'd forgotten how good it was to just take a little bit of time to chat and have a laugh about the things that you like. It's so good for the soul. Yeah,
and when I edit during over the week and stuff like that, I find myself, I watch back and I'm like, how am I smiling this much? Like, I don't smile that much during my normal life. And when people look over my shoulder, like, is that you on the screen? Is that really you?
It's a different part of us. It's actually us having a conversation and having a joyous moment. And I think that's the important part, because life does get heavy, really heavy. It's really heavy at the moment, and it's like those moments you can enjoy with people is something that you take on to the next day and be like, you know what, I had a great conversation yesterday. I smiled, I laughed. Let's see what happens today. You know, things can only get better.
All right, so another thing I want to pick your brains on is you talk about some of the opportunities that you have created for yourself. Obviously, there's one opportunity I've told Debbie about where I was super jealous, was obviously when you met The Rock at Black Adam premiere. Tell us a little bit about that, not too much. And tell us about some of the other ones that you've done, and you know how you sort of got into that sort of position.
Okay, with the Rock situation, I to this day I still don't. The universe is amazing in many ways, because you just put yourself out there, right? And anything could happen. I think it was DC Fandom about 3 years ago, while we were in COVID, they showed like a sneak peek clip, which I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do a random reaction and post it like across social media and see what happens. I know a lot of my friends and family find my reactions cheese, but I don't care, because it was I want to react to this. I want to put this out there. Let's see what happens. And I think I remember my daughter was about 2.5 or 3, and she was sleeping. So it was a really quiet reaction. She was there in the background sleeping. I was looking at the phone, had my headphones in, and I was like, you know, reacting, but it was like almost like miming reactions. And he retweeted it with a comment saying, this is probably the most calmest reaction I've ever seen. But I can't wait for you to see the movie, brother. That's what he says.
Oh my God.
I didn't register that tweet. I thought it was like a fan page or it could be one of his PR company. And then I woke up the following morning, and I was like, my phone has blown up. And I was like, oh my God, that's actually The Rock. And a year later, I worked with DC to do some artwork to promote like it was, I think, January Doodle Month, and I did a couple of sketches of like a couple of DC characters, Sandman, Black Adam, Superman, Batman, and Naomi. And I got a call saying, would you like to go to the Black Adam premiere? Make sure you dress up smart. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. So I've been to a couple of premieres before that because I got to meet James Wan, who's the director of Aquaman, the first Aquaman. It was my first premiere. It was my first time meeting like people at Warner Brothers and stuff like that.
I saw the picture of you holding the trident. I was like,
yeah. And then they put us in a room basically.
Yeah.
So the PR company that looks after this, they basically, I know what they did. Basically, anybody that interacted and The Rock interacted with in the UK, he wanted them all in the room to personally thank them. But we didn't know that. So we've gone in there. And I remember my manager telling me, "You're looking like an R&B singer today," because I was like fully blacked out suit. And I was like, "Why are you saying that for, man? Now you're making me feel conscious with the way I look." And then we were in this hotel and we were in this room, and the PR company was just keeping us. They were feeding us, giving us drinks and stuff like that. And in a moment while we were having conversations with the rest of the people that were in that room, some people probably had an inkling that they were going to meet him. I did not know. And he comes in his like purple pajama suit. And all you could hear is like, look at all of these beautiful people in this room. And I turned around and I was like, oh my God. The Dwayne all I kept on saying was like the people's champion is standing right in front of me. And then, you know, he called me Kibbs. He knew my podcast. And I was like, what the hell? This is insane. And like by then I was like, you know, he gave us that time, and then he was like, you know, you guys gonna come to the premiere. We're gonna have some fun.
That is amazing.
Surreal, absolute surreal moment.
What would have happened if that was me?
I reckon you might have wet yourself.
Probably would. I would have cried my eyes out.
It's hard because you don't know how you're going to react when something happens like that. When somebody comes over and says, "Kibbs,"
whoa,
and you're like, "Oh my God!"
Which means he must have done his research. He must have like they must have shown him the pictures. People saying that is amazing. That he bothered to learn it.
Yeah, very very cool. I mean, he has that charisma.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, everything that he brought from the wrestling world into the movie world, he's brought that with him as well. So there's nothing I can fault the guy on. Like, it was an amazing experience. It was a humbling experience because we've been doing the work for so long. I've been doing the art page for like 15 years, the podcast for a certain amount of years. None of like the art stuff, yes, that gets paid when I do jobs, but the podcast, it's not monetized. We don't make no money off it. It's genuinely just because we love what we talk about. And to have a moment like that, to this day, it's one of those pinch me moments that I still can't get over. Like, I'm standing next to The Rock, and then somebody did a little.
Tiny? Did you feel tiny?
I'm already tiny. I'm 5'2", so you can imagine how much of a monster he was. I'm a 5'2", but like I was like, if you see the picture of me shaking his hand, I'm like, oh my God, this guy's a monster. And then
having heart.
Then somebody on the internet made this picture of us in the suits. So I had a black one, he had a purple, but they made it purple. And they said twins on the top of it, so they used the twins poster, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Like, I love the internet, but surreal moment. I mean, we've had other opportunities of
I've seen.
I think it was Zachary Levi, David Sandberg,
wow,
Jeff Rowe, who directed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. Adam Deacon, Jazzy J. Oh my God! Like, we've had loads of opportunities pop up. I mean, who else? Jason Momoa as well. That was another moment where it was like, oh my God, this guy is just a beautiful looking man.
Beautiful giant, isn't he?
Yeah, it's like beautiful. Absolutely. In real life as well. It was like, man, you smell nice, dude.
Yeah.
Like, why is my knees weak?
I did meet him at a Comic-Con once. Obviously, super quick smile. Hey, hi. Photo, ridiculously cheesy. And then when we went to get the stuff signed, he just literally effortlessly put his hair up in a man bun, and everybody was like, "Oh my God!"
I'm surprised you didn't get arrested, Deb.
Insanely, it was but there's loads more in there. I mean, I because I love the comic book world, I've got to meet so many people, so many artists and writers from the comic book world. I mean, one of my favorites is Frank Miller. Getting to meet him, you know, that's the guy who changed comic books in general, and the direction it was heading from kind of light-hearted characters that we got into like real world situations and real world scenarios.
stuff we love now.
The stuff we love, which is inspired by Frank, basically. Yeah. You know, a lot of the stuff that we see now and visuals we see now, it's all because of Frank and what he did for Daredevil, for what he did for Batman, and then so on. So, yeah, that was another pinch me moment as well to meet him. But like, I can throw names out there, but it's amazing just to meet some of them.
Yeah, I have enjoyed the fact that I've seen you also started doing the interviews now with some of the people from different movies and so forth.
That's been a great opportunity. I mean, what was the recent one? The one that I love. Erica and Julia Leeward, who was like the showrunners and writers for the original X-Men animated series.
Yeah.
Oh.
Probably one of my favorite episodes. They were wonderful, man. The amount of stuff that they told us about what they went through back then when they made this animation, because Fox and Fox owned Marvel at the time, and the characters they could have used, and they were consultants on X-Men 97, and it's an amazing journey, but they're just wonderful. Like when you have that grounded conversation with people and you can ask them like general everyday stuff, like we're fans. At the end of the day, I'm nobody. I'm just a fan that loves what they put out. Yeah, and like to have that conversation with them on that level, it changes everything. And I've realized some of the opportunities that have come, and these will be through like PR companies that work with these studios.
Yeah.
And sometimes, yes, you have to email them, you have to find out who they are, you have to pitch them the idea of what you want to do and how you want to do it. Like, and I'm gonna be blatantly honest, we don't have the numbers, you know, like some of the creatives do have.
Yeah.
And but I've never seen that as a block. I've always seen it as like, I want to share my passion with the listeners that I do have. Yeah. And the people that do want to see these interviews. So how does somebody with, and I hate putting it in a way where it's a hierarchy chart, but how can I make an impact so that these guys can have a great time? And then what ends up happening is they don't stop the interview. Where a studio would give me 5 minutes to ask a question. I'm like, 5 minutes ain't gonna do, but I have to be specific with that question.
Yeah.
And see how long it lasts. Like I did Matt Reeves for the Batman.
Yeah.
And I knew that it has to be a good question because I had 8 people on a round table to ask a question. Yeah. I was like, I'm never going to get this opportunity again. So I knew he was a music man. He's a great visual director. I think what he did with Planet of the Apes were amazing, the last 2 that he did bring out. But I asked him, why did you pick Nirvana for this Batman movie? And he was like, while I was writing the script, I was playing it in the background, and it was like perfect for Bruce Wayne. Because as he's like the broody character, that track just fits very well.
Every time,
and like he went on for like 15 minutes, and I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
So
every time he entered the room, that song would hit, and it's like, doom, doom, like perfect. And like I said, we met at the Batman in concert, and what an evening!
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Where was
it? The best way.
It was in Shepherd's Bush at is it the Empire?
No.
Empire?
No, it was London.
The Apollo.
Yes, that's right. The Apollo. Yeah. In Hammersmith. Yeah.
Hammersmith. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So we went.
It's the best way to experience a movie.
Yeah.
With an orchestra.
There's a few of them that have been doing it now, and I'll go to see more as well. All right, let's move on to top 3. So top 3 this week was given to me by my eldest stepdaughter's boyfriend. Because we were talking about the Dark Knight. Me and him often have conversations about Batman, and then he ended up giving me mind blank.
Gary Oldman.
So I'm just blown away. I'm just thinking about Kibbs. I'm thinking about The Rock. I'm thinking about so he gave me Gary Oldman. So top 3. So Kibbs already sent me a few of his, but I'm gonna let him tell them on here. Debs, I will let you go first with your 3, and I do have a hell of a lot of honorable mentions.
Yeah. What are we saying about Dark Knight? Like, what are we saying?
Yeah, well,
have we all got it? Should we sketch it out?
I think, well, what happened on the week that we did Morgan Freeman?
Yeah.
I mentioned that
I saw that episode.
The Dark Knight in there. And I got a comment from a friend of mine who's saying, like, how could you not put the Dark Knight trilogy in the diamond category? Like, beyond like judgment. So I think he's right. They were all great. So I think we can put those in that non-judgeable category.
We possibly all had it somewhere in our top 3, so we could
Oh
scoop
yeah.
out and move another one up.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you're happy with that, Kibbs, can we move the Dark Knight trilogy into what we call the above reproach category? Cannot be judged. It's too good.
Of course, definitely.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
All right. So
might be, so and again, it's because I love the movie.
Yeah.
He's not like in it loads, but okay. I really, really love Hitman's Bodyguard.
Okay. Yeah. He's not in it
so
loads.
Much fun.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate, it is more a Samuel L. Ryan kind of biz, but it's a really good fun film. And
I do enjoy them. And like, was it the second one? Obviously, it's just like where Selma Hayek really comes into her own in it. So
that's worst reviews, and I was like, no, I really enjoyed that one as well.
Yeah, it was good fun. Kibbs, what is your number 3? If you had to put them in order of the ones that you had.
Number 3 would be I've got it down. It is Air Force One.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
He plays Ivan, Russian bad guy.
He loves playing a Russian.
Yeah. He does. He's got like he's good with accents. Like that's the one good thing about him. I mean, he's a method actor, so he really puts himself in it. I've been watching a lot of interviews with him recently, so it's funny that you picked up on that because I was gonna pick Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But then I was like, that was, I don't know, it was a bit too mainstream. So I was like, all right, let's pick some of his earlier movies. And I think Air Force One was like where I first kind of saw Gary Oldman and noticed him. And I was like, okay, it's interesting. And I was like, oh my God, he's an English guy. Like, where did he get the accent? How did he practice that? Like, it makes you kind of think, like, how did he pick up that accent? But then, going through my list, I was like, oh my God.
Even more strange is his sister was in EastEnders. When I found out
that's right, yeah.
I was like, what?
Who? Yeah.
Do you know the character of Big Mo? Big Mo?
Oh my God, no.
That's his sister.
Big Mo, yeah, that's his sister.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I know.
How's not like whipped her over to Hollywood?
I know. I couldn't believe it. But as you're saying about his accents, like some of the films he's done, where he just morphs into these characters.
And his face lends itself to them as well.
Yeah. And to me, this might sound like a really bold or out there statement, but I think he is pretty much the British version of Al Pacino. I would say if you go look at all his roles that he's done, and when he speaks and his cadences and the way he like delivers his lines, where he'll go like really high, then drop the voice down really low, and he'll end certain things with a certain accent. Like as in like where he accents his words.
He's good at that. Yeah,
I'd say he's the closest thing to a British Al Pacino out
there. What's your number 3?
So my number 3 is a film called Hunter Killer.
Oh, that was in my mentions. Okay.
Yeah. So him, Jared Butler, Common, he plays I think he plays the Secretary of Defense in this one, and they're trying to avoid World War III, and he's sending his unit in to help. The Russian president has been kidnapped in a coup, and he sent in his team to extract the president and hopefully not cause an international incident. And in that film, I know he's not the main character in it, but he's really good in it. And he really carries all the scenes that he's in.
Definitely a good film. Definitely, I haven't seen that in ages.
Yeah,
no,
that's a good one. Yeah.
There's that one scene where they have to navigate through the minefield, which is just like one like sort of 1 inch to the left and boom. I can never go down in submarine.
A wide feet would
yeah.
done.
I tell you now, I can never go in a submarine. And I read in the papers the other day, on papers. I never read papers, but I was on Instagram, and apparently,
well, I went to get the Daily Mail.
Yeah.
Independent.
So another billionaire is about to get another submarine and go and try and grab more of the Titanic.
No.
Oh, yeah, no, please allow that. No. Why?
Hopefully his one isn't done by the PlayStation controller though.
Oh man.
Crazy.
Absolutely. Oh my god. Horrible.
All right, number 2.
Okay.
Deb's, over to you.
My number 2 is The Darkest Hour. Where he plays Churchill.
Oh, yes. I haven't seen it, but I have seen it.
Oh, it's again, not necessarily my normal type of movie, but as far as kind of, political dramas go, he was fantastic.
From what I have seen, he is like really, he has been really good at it. He really transformed himself. Like if you don't know it's him, you would never know it's him.
No.
Yeah, that's right. Right. Great performance. Really he took that on. He really took that role on, definitely.
Yeah. All right, good choice. I haven't seen it, but I will watch it at some point. But
it's a good watch, definitely.
Yeah.
If you get the time, watch it.
Worth it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it.
Okay, so Kibbs, you're number 2. I wonder if we're going to match on this one.
Ooh, better not be my number 1.
I think I've changed it up completely. Okay. If you saw my list, so
all right,
it's Child 44.
Oh,
that's with Tom Hardy.
Yes, and Tom Hardy. That was in my mentions.
General Malachi, and they're trying to investigate all of these children's murders that's happening at the moment. And I've never been. There's like a handful of movies that can encapsulate me in that moment.
Yeah.
That movie really did it. They're great performances from both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but again, the accents, it's like how it's a tough watch, definitely a tough watch because of what's happening. But it was like great performance from a lot of the cast in that movie were great. It's a good film. It's one of those ones where every year I'll slap it on just to watch it because a performance is so riveting. You're like, oh my god, how did these two keep at this and like put that type of performance on? It's quite harsh with some of the things that have happened in what happens in that movie. Yeah, but it's like, oh my god, they really play it well. Play it well.
Quite funny with Tom Hardy. There's a lot of films where you know it's Tom Hardy, and then there's films like that, and also what is it? True Romance. I think Tom Hardy's in that as well, where he's actually acting. He's
an actor.
Yeah, I know, but like a lot of times I can watch stuff.
He's done some really harsh stuff.
It's him, like the Revenant and all those sort of ones. And like, all right, it's Tom Hardy, but like True Romance and Child 44, he is acting his ass off. There was a mini TV series, and I don't know if it was set like in the Midlands or something, and he was this horrible, like wife beating. It was awful, and I cannot remember life what it is. My sister will be sobbing it at the screen when she's watching this. It was so good, and I was devastated because I hated him. Yeah. Because he played it so well. He was a disgusting person. That wasn't the one with like the mill where he was killing people. Was it? That was another series, wasn't it?
No, that's a different one. That's a different one. No, the name.
I know, right? It's been a long time since I saw I think it is The Something.
Let's just look it up. It's our podcast. We can
go on, put it, man. Look it up. Yeah. We got Google there. There's Google there. Quickly, exactly. Get it up.
I can't Google and carry on talking though. I'm like.
TV shows. Okay, Taboo. There was the one Taboo that was really good. I enjoyed that. And was it Locke? The one that was it?
No, Locke is
Locke is the one where he's on the phone in the car. That's a good one.
And that is it. And that is literally it. Apart from
he's on the M1 as well, and he's driving and he's trying to. His girlfriend's pregnant.
Break up with my wife. I'm going to go hospital with the lady as a baby, and then everything's going to be fine. It was good though.
That was good. That was a good movie.
I'm not sure if I can find it. So,
okay. I'll have a look while you do yours.
Yeah. All right. So my number 2. All right. I know people are going to say like, oh, of course, it's pretty obvious, but no. For me, him in this he's such a good bad guy. And everything's been in a bad guy. He's top tier. So for me, Fifth Element.
Mhm.
Him as
Oh, it was in my mentions.
him as a Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg.
He was perfect for that role, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was definitely great.
Some of the
Great
scenes. I know.
character.
Did we put that in? Did we in Bruce Willis week? I think we had that in Fifth Element in there. But yeah, I've had to bring it back because as a bad guy, he really made that film. And if you think back to the 90s, imagine if they made Guardians of the Galaxy back then. That would have been it. That would have been it.
No, exactly. Yeah, you're so right. You're so right. I love those movies from that era. It's just like creativity on another level. And
Yeah. Because obviously we didn't have the technology that we have now, but they made it work. They really
They did. Those movies are tangible because it has a tangible feeling which I feel like I can touch and feel,
Yeah.
and the look of it as well. Because I think movies now look a bit too clean, and then that's where it throws the CGI off a little bit. But with something like that, it's a mixture of both, and you've got physical props and people in costumes. You're like,
Yeah.
this is like a big, massive Comic-Con. It's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, yeah, definitely Fifth Element right up there. All right.
He did a
FYI, it was called The Take.
The
The
Take.
Take.
Oh,
Okay,
Yeah.
yes, that's right.
Yeah, I have forgiven
Alright.
him for playing that horrible character.
All right.
Okay. Oh,
So,
my number one.
Your number one.
My number one. And I think because he loves war movies, he loves spy movies.
Yeah.
And I really liked this, and I really liked him in it. So I have gone for Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
What a movie.
Good movie. Very good film.
Yeah. Again,
Wow.
spy, drama, thriller,
Yeah, for me that was like, when I love like Sherlock Holmes and stuff like that. For me, the way he was trying to dissect who the spy was, that was very much like Sherlock Holmes versus like Moriarty. It was very like
Yeah.
trying to
Definitely.
outsmart the other one. It's like, it was so clever.
It was.
Tense performance. Yeah, I really like that one. That was a good film. Very good film.
Tom Hardy was in that as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Yes.
Tom Hardy was in that one as well.
I think we're going to have to do a Tom Hardy. When I was flicking through his things then, I was like, Jesus Christ, I don't think I can have a top 3. I think we're going to have to go top 10.
and old Benedict as well.
Oh, Cumber.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
All right, kids, what's your number one? Let me see if we match on this one.
You know what? I did want to pick it, but I'm going to go with a completely different one as well. So, True Romance.
Okay, yeah.
The character he plays is, I think it's Drexel. Yeah. He.
What accent was that? Because he was like a Caribbean, like Cajun, like,
But it was like very, very, very like that sort of era street sort of New York vibe slang with a bit of mixture of Jamaica. It was like really weird, but he played it so well. Like there's a scene in there that still gets me is when Christian Slater comes back to say, here's the money. Like she's not going to be working for you no more. And he's like, I'm not the prettiest looking guy. And you look at him and he puts a light on his face, and I'm like, how did you pull off that accent at that time? Because like it's insane because it actually suits the look he had. And then you watch an interview of him from True Romance, and he's just speaking normally, and I'm like, oh my god, that does not suit you. So good film. Great performance.
Though. You're right. That's got to be up there in almost like people's top 10 of all time, right?
Yeah, it's crazy back then how star-studded some films were.
Yeah,
it's like, how did you have a budget for all these like A-listers?
but they weren't then.
Yeah.
Then they weren't. I mean, if you hear some of the stories about how much they were getting paid then, it was like, oh my god, like that's horrible.
Yeah.
It was a different time back then, so they can get that, and it's only after the 2000s it was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to charge this person $6 million to be in a movie for 5 minutes.
Yeah. But then, like I said, films like that had star-studded cast. They were fantastically written. And then some of the people went off to do other movies that weren't so great, and they'll probably get paid a lot more.
So true. But yeah, True Romance is one of those top 10 movies, one of my favorite films.
Right?
Yeah.
Has to be so good. Even now, like X amount of years on, it absolutely holds up.
Yeah.
Great soundtrack, great dialogue. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So my number one. All right. This film I can watch every month if I wanted to.
Ooh.
All right. It's my I think in my top 10, I think this is probably my top 5. And this is Leon, the Professional. Genre.
Oh, I didn't even
and
think of him being in that.
Yeah, and young Natalie Portman.
Great film.
For me, like, he was a hit. Of course, this film been out for many years, so I'm not spoiling it for anyone. He was a hitman. And, you know, he's very cold, very calculated all the way through. And then one moment changes his life. And, you know, it just, it adds some light to a dark place. You know, as obviously I was young when I first saw it, but then now, as I watch it now, it's like, you know,
as a protective father,
as a dad, like sometimes your kids you're going through are the only light you have sometimes.
Or cats,
of course. You know, and he was, when the way she sort of just turned him around and he started having fun, he was smiling, he was just, you know, and then at the end, obviously, he helps her get her revenge. And like, for me, it was just everything about it. You know, at the end, he does pass at the end, but it was
spoilers,
though, isn't it?
Yeah.
When it's not too perfect, because that's quite more normal, isn't it? It's more usual to have a little bit of sadness along with the good stuff. So
yeah. And in that, well,
he wouldn't have liked it as much if he had lived.
That's right.
Well, it's not the one that exactly. It's not that one you want to have a sequel for, because then it would like take away from what
it would be cheesy almost.
Cheesy, yeah. You know, in that as a bad guy, Gary Oldman he's diabolical.
Yeah, it's horrible, horrible, heartless, greedy person. You know,
like, and he was
on the edge.
And the funny thing is, when you watch it, obviously the daughter's name in it was Matilda. If you look at the house, it reminds me of the house that Matilda from like the whimsical
Matilda.
Yeah, like that weird block of flats that they.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and there's that
it's
one
interesting.
And an excellent film.
Yeah, one scene where her parents have just been killed, and her little brother, everyone's been killed, and then she's walking back from the shops, and she's hoping that he opens the door and lets her in, but she knows that's the end.
Yes.
And he's behind the door, and he's considering, like, do I get involved? Do I need this smoke in my life?
And it's just as tense every time, even though you know what happens.
Yeah,
that's right. Exactly that.
You know,
I do have to do a shout out.
Yeah.
For my sister.
Okay. Yeah.
Harry Oldman.
Yeah.
I think we can't not mention Dracula.
Oh yeah.
Brimstroke. Yes.
Yes. She loves horrors.
Yeah.
I was always put off it because when the beast like shagged the woman, I was too young. It scarred me a little bit. Young. Otherwise, I might have watched it again. But she loves that, so I have to shout that out.
All right. So, honorable mentions. I'll just run through mine quickly, and then you could guys do yours. So one of them was The Firm. So before, this was a football hooligan one.
Oh, okay,
before there was Green
not
Street.
Tom Cruise one. He's not in that.
Football Factory. Or even a film called Cass. This was like one of the original football hooligan films where you just sort of like some guy living a double life. He's like working, doing his normal job during the day, and all of a sudden the evening hits and he's just like becomes this psychopath.
That's a good film. That is a good film. That's like before Fight Club.
Way before that.
Way before Fight Club to have that split personality. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say that was the blueprint of those sort of movies going forward.
Yeah.
That's way before Guy Ritchie.
Yeah. That's right.
I had Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. He was really intense in that. But he was intense. Yeah, he was intense, but you could tell he was a troubled leader. You could tell he'd lost his family. Everyone was looking up to him. is a lot of pressure on his shoulders. And there's that one scene where he breaks down crying, where he's looking at his lost family, and you just see yeah, you can see that, you know, he doesn't necessarily want to go to war, but
he has to.
Yeah. You know, so I still haven't seen the new Planet of the Apes.
What?
Which
you were supposed to watch it. Discussion.
I know. I will see it
out though. It's fine. I'll do it
this week. I'm telling you, I'm seeing it this week. And the other one was obviously Book of Eli. He was good in that. Again, bad guy.
Yeah, he does love being a baddie.
Yeah, knows knowledge is power, so he's trying to control it all. And
good
then,
one. Yeah, definitely.
And then RoboCop, where he was like, you know, he wasn't necessarily the bad guy. He was cool. He was just like,
oh man,
he was there.
I wouldn't even remembered he was in that.
Yeah, RoboCop should have been a lot better than it was. They had a great cast.
Yeah,
they really dropped the ball on that one. Because even if they just did a straight remake of the old one and just with the characters that they had now, it would have been pretty good. But so, any honorable mentions from you guys?
So I had a TV series.
Yeah.
Called Slow Horses.
Okay.
It's been a while since I watched it. I was like, I can't not mention it.
Yeah.
So he followed it again, spy, right? So the series, and he looks really grubby. It follows the team of British intelligence agents who serve as a dumping ground department of MI5 due to their career-ending mistakes. So kind of like a group of people that have done bad things, but actually they're still needed to do their good stuff.
Suicide Squad.
Real life Suicide Squad. And you've mentioned all my other ones.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we didn't mention Kibbs?
No, you've mentioned them. Yeah.
All right,
definitely.
cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, has anyone watched anything new this week, or anything they're watching at present?
So I started watching, because you know me, I'm like the best binger in the world.
Yeah. Oh, you are.
So good. Like, I really should get an award for it.
Yeah.
And so I was hoping to find something that had some longevity in it in terms of number of series, and I found a really cool little again kind of army SAS thing called Strike Back.
Okay.
And there's like 10 series, and I'm like, yes, and
series.
Lincoln was in series 1. Name of a guy I can't remember. Totally my sort of thing, you know, like SWAT teams and SEAL teams and stuff. So
all right,
going to be enjoying that for the next few weeks.
What did I watch? Anything I managed to watch this weekend, because we're running around the kids and stuff. I watched something called Arthur the King. It's a film with Mark Wahlberg and Bear Grylls.
So I like Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, so it's like based on a true story of those guys who do, what's it called, the adventure racing around. They go to like remote parts of the world.
I was assuming some kind of, you know, medieval.
Yeah, I think I thought that at first. And it's one where they have to, like, they kayak, they climb, they cycle, and they run, and they have to cover, like, I think it's like 400 miles or something like that. But in this film, he comes across this stray dog who he feeds a dog, and they go off and they continue their race. And
does it survive?
Yeah. And every sort of checkpoint, the dog's there with them, and they're like, "How is this dog covering this much ground?"
Oh, he loves them. He's like a little hobo.
Yeah, you know, it was quite a good watch, actually. You know, there are some sad parts when you normally have like a pet or an animal in a film. There's always that little touch and go moment. And I say, obviously with Debs, you know, I've got to let you know, he survives, Debs, he's fine.
Good, okay. It's a very big rule in my watching book.
Yeah. So yeah, if you get a chance, just you know, have a look at Arthur the King. And other than that, when I've been chilling out, I've just been watching. I know it's bad. I keep watching Big Mouth. I just find it hilarious.
Good. I'm glad you like it. Good.
Kibbs, have you been watching anything this week, or have you recovered from Comic-Con?
Recovering from Comic-Con, yeah, it was good. Yeah, you know what? I always suffer Comic-Con blues, and recently I started cosplaying. Not really cosplaying, but
Yeah,
just
yeah,
being a comfortable
yeah,
cosplay that I can do. But a couple of my heroes from the 80s, so I did Axel
yeah.
Foley from Beverly Hills Cop, and I'm
We
telling
love
you,
those films.
Yeah.
they're like the best. And it's not that; it's like hearing hearing people shout, "Hey, Axel!" Or
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
"I'm not falling for a banana in the
Yeah,
tailpipe."
that's
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
exactly
I
what
love
I
those
said to you.
lines.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love those lines. So I did Beverly Hills Cop 2. Yeah, so that was good fun. Then I think I did. What have I done? It's Thursday this week. I think the last thing I saw was, so I watched Furiosa last week, which was
Yeah.
really good. I love that. That was
Yeah, my
really good.
sister said it was really good.
So good, so good. You guys seen Mad Max Fury Road?
Yes.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
just
So
haven't done, yeah.
So
one of
she's the
my
younger version of
favorite
this. Yeah,
of Furiosa. Yeah. So one of
yeah,
my favorite action films of the past 2 decades. And that's like stories,
yeah, yeah,
soundtrack, action, everything. Furiosa is a different tone, but very good beginnings of Furiosa. And then I watched Expendables 4
Yeah,
yesterday,
you did.
okay. Yeah,
and I was like, "What the hell?" They have a like great thing there, because you
yeah,
can
yeah,
get all of these people in the film and give me the 80s and 90s,
yeah,
but
yeah,
of
yeah,
just silly action films.
Exactly.
Just they had Eco was, hopefully I said that right, who's a martial
yeah,
artist from Malaysia, and
yeah,
Tony Jaa, who's from Thailand, who's another
yeah, yeah,
martial artist. These guys are great, like when it comes to physical
yeah, yeah.
fighting, and they got. I just felt like as bad guys, they got wasted, because it was like you've got a
Oh,
ton of these action guys
Yeah, yeah, who
killing up
had to?
everybody, and it was like
Yeah,
yeah.
they did have one scene though with Jason Statham and which was a really good scene, but I just
yeah,
let's like utilize them better than that. I just felt like they could have been used much better.
yeah. I think it
But
was like,
they've
yeah,
kind of pushed this franchise to a point where it's like, okay, it's
yeah.
getting a bit silly now.
I remember like
Uh,
number two when like Jet
It was
Li was in.
always silly.
yeah, which was fine, but
You
now it's
take it
like
for what it is, right? Everyone's like,
Yeah,
oh,
exactly,
it was. I'm like,
exactly,
no, you're not going in with the right mindset. It's supposed to
exactly,
be a fun movie, bit nostalgic, some awesome old,
yeah,
action characters. Like, what were you expecting?
yeah.
exactly. But
No,
I
I'm
just
gonna,
felt like some of the characters got wasted.
yeah,
That's Other
Oh,
than that, it was a good watch. But I
yeah.
yeah,
was like, oh, they're great martial artists, and
I
I love
love
martial
Statham.
arts. Yeah, he's amazing. He's really good.
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
I did miss Comic-Con this weekend. You know, it was a shame. I'm gonna go to the one in October, and this time I will do. I will be dyeing my hair blonde, and I will be doing Demolition Man.
oof,
Oh,
oof,
okay.
Simon,
Yeah,
Simon. You know what? That'd be good. Definitely, we have to catch up, dude.
yeah, yeah,
We have to catch up. That'd be good.
yeah.
That'd be
I
good.
know they've got the
I don't
long.
know.
Are we all going together in
Yeah,
Let's
October?
go. Let's
yeah.
go. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's do
Let's
it.
go. Let's go.
You said it here.
Let's
All
go.
right.
And now I have to think about what I do next.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, I know you two are huge Star Wars fans. Are you going to be tuning into Acolyte?
Ooh, yes, I am. Yes, I am. I missed a screening yesterday. They did
Yeah.
the UK premiere yesterday, and a couple of my friends were like, "Kibbs, how can you miss this?" And I was like, "I'm a dad. I'm a dad. I still
Don't
have
understand.
responsibilities. Like, they can't just message me like on Monday and say, 'Can you come out?' You know, and go
Yeah.
to this premiere." And I'm like, "You guys, man, like, I this is the one thing about this industry, is that
Yeah.
there's like a reserve list, and I feel like because of where we stand in the multimedia world, like we're on that reserve list. So I'm lucky to get some of the
Yeah.
opportunities
Yeah.
that I do get.
Yeah.
But I was like, you can't give me 6 hours notice.
Yeah.
My wife will kill me, and my two kids will kill me. So I have to get permission from 3 people now.
Exactly. Yeah. And even when you get permission, you still got to be like really well behaved on the day as well.
Yeah. And
It's
for
so
nothing
true.
else to go wrong.
Yeah.
No child
Exactly.
emergencies and
It's
I
even like
remember when we.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
It's even like when I do extras work. It's like
Yeah,
sometimes I keep it down to what certain projects. I always ask people, like, because they always give you pseudonames. So I'll
yeah,
find out what the project is, and then I'll figure out if I can do it. But then the thing is, sometimes you'll say yes one day before you're supposed. You've taken all your time off. You've got everything booked out. One day before, they're like, oh, we don't. we released you from casting. It's like, for God's sake, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Definitely a tough one. It's like it's very last minute, and I think before Nia was born last year, I remember she was just at the end of the pregnancy, and they invited us to Shazam
Yeah.
premiere, Fury of the Gods,
Really good.
and it was
Most recently.
meet the director, meet Zachary, and then I was on call basically. I said, "Listen, guys, I'm gonna have to have my phone on loud just in case wifey says she's gonna go into the hospital or her water breaks. Like my phone's on loud. I don't want to get in trouble by anybody. I'm not recording anything. Like, let me do that." But yeah, no, mate, it didn't happen. But I'm always like, it's always on call now since I've started school and the rest of it, nursery.
Yeah.
It's always on the go. So like, yeah. But Acolyte, Star Wars, yes, I'm so in it. I think Andor was great.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan was great, and like we still
I
get
enjoyed them a lot more
get
than
it.
I think, other people did. I thought they got a lot of grief for the new, and I'm like, why? They're good.
Yeah.
People don't appreciate things no more. We're a spoiled society. We're a spoiled society.
Yeah.
We are so spoiled. We're given this to us. You know,
Yeah.
we've got stories that go from 40 years ago, continued now into my 40s now, and it's like, oh my God, I still get to enjoy the stuff I enjoyed as a kid now.
Yeah.
I couldn't be more grateful. But yeah, appreciation, I think, yeah, we're in a spoiled society at the moment. Everybody wants everything instant, and nobody appreciates it while we got it then. Where before I had comic books and cartoons to watch in the morning, which I can still hold dearly now.
Them to come out, or a month.
Exactly. So
what I love also, we looked at these characters in our comic books. We looked at these characters on like certain medias, and then to have them come to life. Obviously, when you read something, you build up the sort of the image of like in your head of what you want this person to look like.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes studios might get a little bit wrong. It's because sometimes they have an agenda. they have an agenda that they have to sort of work with. But sometimes you're like, okay, it works. Sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, even like last week we did a top 3 Henry Cavill, and I talked about the film Immortals. I grew up in Greek mythology and all those sort of things. So any film that comes out that covers that sort of genre, I'm there. I just want to see. I want to see stuff like the Hydra. I want to see Medusa. I want to see an iteration of the.
Imagine a really well done Medusa like now.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be incredible.
So good. That'd be so good. That'd be so good. They need to bring it back, honestly.
Yeah.
They need to bring it back, definitely. But yeah, Star Wars, Acolytes, a new venture into the Star Wars universe, a different story. We're following a different band of people, which is, it's great. Like, we still get it. I'm super excited. Everybody who messaged me yesterday was like, "Kibs, you missed out. I was like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I'm a parent."
Yeah.
You forget, I'm in my 40s. I've got 2 kids. And most of them, like, I love them to bits. They're all in their late 20s and early 30s, and, you know, just the excitement. And I love that, because I feel like it makes me younger when I see them. Like, some of the guys that I do meet through the opportunities that have come through and the screenings I go to, like, so I started this campaign where I said I'm going to do a spinning kick at every event that I go to until I get myself into a movie to do that one kick. Even if I'm a bad guy, I don't care. I just want that one kick in the film so I can leave it for my children and say, you can do anything you want. And they were like, they always go like, "You're not going to come party later, or you're not going to come out." And I was like, "Dude, I am 42 years old.
Exactly.
It's already past my bedtime. I am already half asleep. I want to go home, cuddle my ladies, and go sleep."
Yeah. Sometimes the way I fall asleep in the evening is embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Exactly.
I'm trying to watch something on my iPad or something like that, and next thing I know, I'm waking up and like iPad's pressed against my face, or I'm just like,
I play my puzzles on my phone. An old lady, bang, because I've fallen asleep and dropped it on my face.
That's why I can never go on those programs like Big Brother now, because it'll be like, oh my God, look at this guy.
He'd be totally called out.
Someone cover him up. Someone just roll him into a cupboard or something.
Brilliant. Absolutely.
All right,
brilliant.
kids, before we go, please tell everyone where they can find you. Obviously, I'll put the information on our page as well, but you just let everyone know.
Guys, you can find the Brothers Geek Out podcast on X, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, There's so many. Just type
Yeah.
in the Brothers Geek Out podcast. Hopefully we just pop up on the top of the search. But if you want to follow my art page and the art workshops that I do, follow Kibla Ahmed Art. That's where I post most of my dad journey and my artwork.
Yeah, so we'll post. I'll get all your links from you, and I'll post them
Cool.
up on our page. Obviously, everyone follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram. We're on Spotify. We're not on Apple Music yet, but I'll figure it out.
Give me a shout. Give me a shout. We'll talk.
Yeah.
I hope you set that up. Definitely.
And so, when I decided to watch I did watch the trailer again for True Romance, and in it, one of the quotes during the film, at the end of it, was like, never since Bonnie and Clyde have two people been so good at being bad. And I was like, but that's my saying.
We're talking about us.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Right, thanks for joining us. I've been Klynton, joined by the lovely Debbie, and of course, thank you very much to Kibbs. Like I said, a great inspiration on social media and obviously for podcasting. You know, because of you, that I thought, you know what, me and Debs need to get our show back and give it a go again.
Super proud of you guys. Super proud of you guys. I'm glad you did, and thank you for having me on. Honestly, keep doing what you love, and like, thank you for having me on. Honestly, it's a great pleasure. I'm smiling. I smiled so much, my cheeks are hurting.
Yeah.
So that's amazing there. So thank you so much, and the pleasure to be on. And guys, make sure you follow these guys' journey. It's absolute pleasure.
So we'd love to have you back again at some point.
Definitely.
And like I said, I said, Debs, like I said, this pod to me is therapy. It's one part of my week where I really look forward to. And Debs is so much fun. I love doing the show with her.
And
yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Everyone be good. And if you can't be good, be the best at being bad. Like us, right? Bonnie and Clyde of podcasting. Bye-bye.